Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns proved that some wrestlers have amazing chemistry in the ring. On the other hand, a match like John Cena versus Cody Rhodes shows us the opposite. Today, we're going to take a look at 20 great wrestlers who just couldn't put it together when facing each other, no matter how talented they were. Number 10, Randy Orton and Sheamus. Sheamus and Randy have had a number of high-profile matches throughout their respective careers, but sadly, every time they've wrestled, the in-ring psychology has been somewhat poor, and they never had a truly great match together. The two had their fair share of matches in 2010, and the matches were rather underwhelming as their two styles simply weren't compatible. The WWE even tried to book the duo in a Hell in a Cell match, but this did little to create any chemistry between the two decorated performers. One of their more notable matches took place on the Raw after WrestleMania 29, and the crowd wanted absolutely nothing from either man, proceeding to boo them extensively and even doing the wave rather than watching the match. The two would once again feud in 2015, but yet again, their matches just did not click. Number 9, AJ Lee and Paige. When AJ Lee and Paige began their feud in 2014, a lot of fans were initially excited. AJ had ascended to the top of the women's division in WWE, and Paige had become one of the brightest young female stars that WWE had ever seen, so this was classed as somewhat of a dream match to many fans. Unfortunately, their matches together were repeatedly poor. The two women had a number of pay-per-view matches throughout 2014, and the matches just never seemed to get out of the second gear. The SummerSlam match is often cited as one of the worst of theirs. However, AJ was injured during the match, which no doubt had an impact on the quality of the match. The best match the duo had with each other was a triple threat match with Nikki Bella at the Night of Champions pay-per-view. The lack of chemistry between WWE's two biggest female stars was incredibly disappointing, as fans were expecting greatness, and what they got instead was something else entirely. Number 8, Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho had incredible chemistry as a tag team. However, when it came to the duo's chemistry inside the ring, something always felt off. Their match at WrestleMania 33 was really lackluster, and even WWE Chairman Vince McMahon himself refused to speak to Kevin Owens after the match, as he was so let down by the matchup. Jericho stated that the reasons the two did not click in that match was because the match should have been for the Universal Championship and it should have been the main event. He also stated the fact that they were second on the card, which is a terrible position to be in, and this negatively impacted the match quality. Their rematch at the Payback pay-per-view was better to an extent, but it wasn't at the level you would expect from two of the best in-ring performers in WWE history. Number 7, Randy Orton and Triple H. Randy Orton and Triple H have had over a dozen matches together throughout the years. They've even main evented WrestleMania, but for some reason, there's never been a standout match of their feud. The duo would first feud in 2004 after Triple H and Evolution turned on Orton, and their match at the Unforgiven pay-per-view is mostly known for Orton dropping the world title to Triple H just 1 month after winning it, and a lot of people didn't like that. They would wrestle a number of times over the next few years, but the matches were unfortunately never anything special. In 2007 and 2008, the duo would have a number of gimmick matches, including a last man standing match at No Mercy, which was probably the best match they've ever had, but even that wouldn't make a lot of fans' list of the best last man standing matches in wrestling history. In 2009, the duo would be involved in one of the best builds to a WrestleMania main event ever, as Orton would target the entire McMahon family, but unfortunately, their WrestleMania match was a massive dud, and it was overshadowed by the Shawn Michaels and Undertaker main event. The duo's most recent match was at the Super Showdown pay-per-view in 2019, and this would act as a nostalgia match for the Saudi audience and offer nothing new in terms of quality from the two WWE legends. Number 6, Kane and The Big Show. The Big Show and Kane had great chemistry during their days as a tag team duo in 2005 and 2006. However, when the two actually squared off in the circle, it was never pretty. The duo wrestled a number of times throughout the years, and the matches ranged from passable to downright awful. For some context, two of their pay-per-view matches in 1999 were rated -1 star by Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer newsletter, and it didn't get any better 7 years later when they clashed at Backlash in 2006. their match would once again be rated at a -1 star. Despite being great friends in real life and making a great tag team, the two simply just couldn't have a good or even decent passable match against each other. Number 5, Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy. The Hardy Boys are classed by many as one of the greatest tag teams of all time. However, for some unknown reasons, when the two faced off in the ring, the chemistry simply just wasn't there. This doesn't mean to say that the two didn't have entertaining matches together. They certainly did. Their cinematic matches in Impact Wrestling are incredibly memorable, but when it comes to a standard wrestling match, something always felt off. Their match at the 2001 Vengeance pay-per-view was rated at just over a star by Dave Meltzer, which should have been a sign that the two should remain as a tag team combination. Their feud in 2009 wasn't even supposed to happen, but nevertheless, the two would have a number of matches, including an Extreme Rules match at WrestleMania 25. I think the main issue with these two was the fact that fans did not want to see them wrestle. The desire from the fans was to see them fighting side by side, not one-on-one, and this no doubt had an influence on how their matches would play out. Number 4, The Undertaker and Kane. When fans talk about iconic WWE feuds, one of the rivalries that they usually discuss is a feud between The Undertaker and Kane. Their feud during the Attitude Era was without a doubt one of the strongest stories the WWE has ever told. However, when it comes to the quality of the matches, they weren't exactly great. The best match the duo would have was at WrestleMania 14, and then all the matches afterwards just got progressively worse. Their matches at SummerSlam 2000 and WrestleMania 20 were poor from a wrestling standpoint, although the stories going into the respective matches were always top tier. Their feud in 2010 featured some of the worst matches between the duo. They were both limited and washed by the year of 2010, and the matches truly showed. Their matches inside Hell in a Cell and their Buried Alive match were designed to hide the limitations of both men, but they would still even under-deliver. Number 3, Kevin Owens and AJ Styles. AJ Styles and Kevin Owens are two of the most celebrated performers of the modern era. However, their feud in 2017 would fail to live up to the standard that fans expected from the duo. The two would face off at a number of pay-per-view events, and each time the fans were left disappointed. Each match seemed to be either really slow or the talented duo would mess up the finish. The feud would end up involving Shane McMahon towards the end, and fans speculated that this was added so the feud wouldn't fall completely flat. Even weirder was that AJ would go on to have better matches in that same year with Jinder Mahal, despite Jinder being a lot less talented in that ring in comparison to Owens. The idea that Owens and AJ had little to no chemistry is believed to be shared by Owens himself. This is what he would state.
But it's not always a recipe for miracles. Like me and AJ will talk about it all the time. We're both really good at this, but for some reason, our matches for a long while just didn't hit, and we both would come back and go, well, what happened? I don't know. Try again next time. And the fans acknowledge it all the time, like Kevin and AJ. It's no chemistry, I guess. And yeah, I don't know. Some guys, it just works better than others. I don't know.
Number 2, Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Undertaker. Austin and The Undertaker would wrestle a number of times during the Attitude Era and even in the early stages of the Ruthless Aggression Era. Although on paper, the two should have really clicked in that ring, their matches always fell flat, and there was always something that was off when the two went one-on-one. Austin even agrees with this, and this is what he said about the two and their chemistry in a podcast.
I taken myself because I think the characters of The Undertaker and Stone Cold were in many ways very similar. You got two badass guys, and just neither one of us are true sympathy type baby faces, if that's what you want to call us. I got nothing but respect for Undertaker. I'm sure he probably thinks pretty well of me. We didn't have the greatest in-ring chemistry like I had with Bret, he had with Shawn, he had with Bret, or I had with, some of the other guys.
And number 1, Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt. For whatever reason, Bray Wyatt versus Randy is a feud that WWE would continue to go back to, despite the two having incredibly poor matches together. Their series of matches in 2016 were a complete letdown, which was disappointing as the story going into the match was very strong. The WrestleMania 33 match was one of the worst WWE title matches in WrestleMania history and made the fans have no desire to see the two wrestle again. They then had a cinematic style match, the House of of Horrors match a month later, and this also did little to manufacture some chemistry. Then in 2020, the two would feud once again, but this time while Bray Wyatt was portraying the Fiend character, and this time it was even worse, and many fans thought it was the worst match of the entire WrestleMania 37 weekend. Anyways, that is it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe for more, and here's some other videos that I think you might like.